United Bank Expo section of the Ballard Center. Thank you for coming out this morning and braving the wind and rain and all the things. So I appreciate you being here. It is my pleasure. I am Karen Solis. I am with the Chamber of Commerce here, and it is absolutely my pleasure to welcome you here with us. I know that the purpose today is for us to hear from elected officials and to get an update on our communities, so I will not delay that fact. But before I turn the ceremonies over to our elected officials, I do want to acknowledge and represent any elected officials that are not going to be on stage today. If you are an elected official or a representative of an elected official, would you please stand so that we can recognize and acknowledge you today? Thank you so much for coming. I do want to get us started with Jason Hawkins. He's going to be leading our program for the next few moments. So with Jason Hawkins, please know that he is the president and CEO of First United Bank here in Madisonville. Since joining the bank in 2005, he has served as the trust officer, investment officer, chief financial officer prior to becoming the president in 2016. Mr. Hawkins currently serves on several boards, including Baptist Health Deaconess Madisonville, the Madisonville-Hopkins County Economic Development Corporation, and the Salvation Army. He is also a member of Madisonville Noon Kiwanis and the treasurer of the Kentucky Bankers Association. Mr. Hawkins holds a bachelor's in finance and a master's in business administration from Murray State University. And I want to not only welcome him to the stage, but also thank him personally for his company's contribution to our community and to this event. So, Mr. Jason Hawkins.
Good morning, everyone. I'll be very brief this morning. I just, on behalf of First United Bank and Trust Company, I just wanted to thank you all for being here today, for supporting community events like this, for supporting the Chamber, for being involved and participating. You guys are community leaders. You are definitely involved in everything that's going on in our community, and for that I'm truly thankful. I want to say thank you to Karen Solis as president of our chamber. Karen is doing such a great job. We need to give her all a hand. She's taken over this role, and she's been out visiting with lots of you. I'm sure that she's made it around to a lot of stakeholders in our community. And so I'm just encouraged with what we're doing with the Chamber of Commerce and want to thank them for this event. You know, this morning we get to hear from our public leaders, and just to make a few precursor comments for them, I'm not sure if the wind is an omen for how long Mayor Cotton will speak today. So just be aware that that may be what's going to happen. I do know that Judge Jack Whitfield and Mayor Cotton must have had a contest to see who could be the best dressed today. And so I'm going to go ahead and have to give the nod to Judge Whitfield on that. So. But anyway, I really just want to say, we live in a world today where we allow things to divide us. Social media, for all the good that it does in keeping us connected, also is a platform that can be very difficult. I just want to say thank you to all of our elected officials for enduring at times a lot of the onslaught of the armchair warriors as comments are made. But I think that we in this room should do our very best to try to find things that unite us, things that bring us together instead of divide us. And so I'm excited to hear from Mayor and from Judge today. I'm excited for what they're going to share with us about all the good that is happening right here in Madisonville and Hopkins County. I would like to introduce our moderator, Mr. Jason Vincent. Jason is Executive Director of the Pennyrile Area Development District. Jason's career with the Pennyrile ADD began in 2004 and includes the positions of Assistant Director, Projects Coordinator, and then prior to joining Pennyrile Area Development District, Jason held various positions in the banking industry. He holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Finance and a Master's in Business Administration from Murray State University. Go Racers. And he is a certified economic development finance professional, serves on various boards, councils, and committees throughout the region. And so I'd like to welcome Mr. Jason Vincent to the stage.
Thank you, Jason. I think it could just be the Jason and Jason show this morning. We really don't need to hear from the mayor and the judge, do we? You think so, Judge? You do look good, by the way. But good morning, and thank you all for being here for what I really believe is a very important discussion on the state of our city and our county. And I'm just excited to live here in Hopkins County. What about you all? And I also want to say a big thank you to First United Bank for their sponsorship and for the Chamber for hosting this event this morning. Let's give them another round of applause. So we're going to go ahead and get started. But the legislative session is going on right now, and our state would love to have been here this morning. However, they're in session as we speak right now. So Senator Robbie Mills and Representative Wade Williams have both provided a video message for us, and I think we're going to kick things off with Senator Mills.
Hey, this is Robbie Mills, and I'm coming to you from the Capitol in Frankfort. Just wanted to say hi and tell you how much I enjoy representing Hopkins County up here in Frankfort. Of course, we are about 2/3 the way through our short session, and me and my compadre from Hopkins County, Representative Wade Williams, are talking just about every day on things that affect Hopkins County. I have taken on a new leadership position in Frankfort in our caucus, which gives me a little more influence up here, and that's more influence that Hopkins County has as well. I just want to touch on a few things. Of course, the successes that we had with the DOCJT Training Center there in Hopkins County. And also, we're also always looking for ways to promote the I-69 corridor and bring growth through Hopkins County and Northwest Kentucky. So it is an honor to continue to represent Hopkins County and Frankfort as your state senator. Look forward to seeing you back home when we get a chance. Take care.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. We are very fortunate, really all over West Kentucky, to have such strong leadership in Frankfort. We're thankful to have them. We do have another video, but while he is pulling that video up, I do want to introduce Morgan Albee with Senator McConnell's office. Thank her for being here, and Austin Weatherington from Congressman Comer's office. Both of them sitting here, so appreciate everything you all do. So I think we have the video from Representative Williams.
Hello, I'm State Representative Wade Williams. I represent District 4, which encompasses all of Hopkins County. Thank you for allowing me to join you today in a virtual way. This year, during the 2025 regular session, we hope to accomplish meaningful progress. Thank you for allowing me to join you today in a virtual way. Regular session, we hope to accomplish meaningful progress. coming together for positive change and pushing the boundaries of what's possible for a brighter future for all Kentuckians. As we look toward the future, there's one key area that will help us achieve lasting success: economic growth. Economic growth is a foundation of a prosperous state. It impacts everything we do, from creating jobs to improving schools to ensuring that every Kentuckian has the opportunity to build a better life. The House majority is committed to fueling that growth and ensuring Kentucky remains on a path towards a brighter future. I'm eager to see continued progress in Kentucky's tax reform efforts. We've already made significant strides in this area, and we're not stopping now. We've reduced the individual income tax from 6% to 4%, and I'm happy to announce we'll be taking it down even further, down to 3.5% in January of 2026. This is a critical step toward returning more money to Kentuckians where it belongs. This is a game changer. It means that Kentucky families and individuals will have even more of their hard-earned money in their pockets. That's money they can invest in their future, spend in their communities, or save for their families. It's money that is better left in the hands of those who earned it. And it's a clear sign that we are committed to putting Kentuckians first. In addition to the tax cuts, we are focused on creating an environment that supports business growth, creation, and recruitment. By doing so, we're building Kentucky's economy, a growth story that can be measured in record low unemployment, historic economic investment, and thousands of new, good-paying jobs. The policies we've enacted have led to historic economic growth and record job creation and massive investments in infrastructure, all while protecting Kentucky's values. At the same time, this tax reduction is a part of a broader, conservative approach to budgeting that has been working for Kentucky. Through careful planning, we've been able to reduce our tax burden while still investing in the critical services and infrastructure that make Kentucky a great place to live, work, and raise a family. We're making those investments in a way that is responsible, sustainable, and forward-thinking. We know that government must live within its means, and that's exactly what we're doing. Our state is grounded in fiscal responsibility. We're committed to prioritizing debt reduction, supporting our pension system, and avoiding unnecessary borrowing. By keeping state spending under control and focusing on long-term stability, we're building a strong financial foundation for Kentucky that will benefit future generations. We're currently in an odd-year session of General Assembly, having no more than 30 legislative days until our adjournment sine die, March 28th. The House majority remains dedicated to continuing the progress we've made, pushing forward with policies that strengthen our economy and create a more prosperous future for all Kentuckians. We remain focused on ensuring that every taxpayer dollar is invested wisely and efficiently with a clear vision of Kentucky's future. And as we move forward, we will continue to prioritize tax cuts, ensuring Kentuckians can keep more of their money to invest in their families, businesses, and communities. We will also ensure our budget is fiscally responsible, reduce debt, and invest in our future. And alongside with these efforts, we remain committed to enacting business-friendly policies and reducing unnecessary regulations to create an environment where local businesses can thrive. Through these efforts, we are building a stronger, more resilient Kentucky, a Kentucky where families thrive, businesses grow, and everyone has the opportunity to succeed. This is a journey we're all on together, and it's one that I'm excited to continue with all of you. It's an honor to serve as your representative, and I look forward to the work we'll do together to make Kentucky an even better place to call home. Thank you for the opportunity to join you today, and I'm excited for the positive results that will come from our efforts.
All right. Good morning.
Morning.
I sort of hate to sit between the two of you all.
Somebody's got to sit there. I'm worried about that button popping off of that vest. All right, so since my clothes are an item of discussion today, let me just say that my sister's over here. She can verify that I'm half colorblind and fashion ignorant. So I just want to thank my now fiancée Emily for dressing me this morning.
Thank you, Emily. Thanks for going to Gap for Kids.
So, I don't think the two of you all need too much of an introduction, but before we get started, I do have a little bit of a ground rule.
We won't follow it.
Well, it's really a ground rule for this one over here.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because we really need you to talk slow. We know how fast you like to go sometimes. And so if you get to moving too quickly, Judge, I did bring us a helmet that we can... if we need that, you just let us know if you want to put the pedal to the metal. But hopefully you've already got that out of your system. But anyways, let's get started, okay?
Quickly.
Quickly. Let's start with infrastructure. Let's talk about all of the infrastructure investments that are being made here in the region, because we know that infrastructure development really lays the foundation for any other type of development, whether it be economic development, business development, community or quality of life. So Mayor, let's start with you. The city's been working on improving sewer system. And I know we've heard a lot about West Knoll Interceptor. Talk to us about where that stands and really how that's gonna impact Madisonville and really Hopkins County.
Yeah, so thank you. First, I want to make a comment about the incredible people that make all of the things happen that we're going to talk about today happen on a daily basis, and that's the city team. We have several of those here. If they would just stand up real quick, I want you all to recognize the people that are making the things happen that we're going to talk about. So if you're with the city team, will you please stand up? They're on both sides of the room. Give them a round of applause. And again, things don't happen with just one person, right? We talked about, Jason talked about being unified and working together, and that happens here in Hopkins County like nowhere else in the state. And Judge Executive Jack Whitfield, as much as I give him some grief, and he comes up short a lot of times, but it is 100% an honor to be able to work with him and be a partner with him and all the things that we've seen happening in Hopkins County. The biggest project, to my knowledge, the largest infrastructure project by dollar amount is underway right now with the West Knoll Interceptor project. It is it's a game changer for Madisonville, Hopkins County, because we're getting real close to capacity on sewer, and that may not matter, but if you're on septic tank in the county, when you get at capacity, in your septic tank, it typically overflows, right? Well, that's not a good thing. And we want to make sure that we don't have that as a problem. If we're looking at the next 50 years in Madisonville and the growth that we're already seeing right now, the West Knoll Interceptor is what's going to help us get there. And we're already well into the project. The goal is to get our two biggest users, which is the hospital and Ostrom, moved off of the east side lift station, which is over by the mall. So if you think about the city as a bathtub, the mall is the drain, and then it gets pumped out to the sewer treatment plant. The Interceptor project will turn Ostrom and the hospital and that side of town over by the YA ball fields, which will then open up that capacity for the future growth of Madison on Hopkins County. It affects not just Madisonville, it affects Hanson, it affects Arlington, and it affects right outside of the city limits out into the county. So to be able to do this project sets it up for our kids and our grandkids to not have to worry about whether or not we can approve building permits for new apartment complexes or new retail development or new businesses that are coming into town. And currently we're in the process of redesigning a phase of that project, which is going to save us around $2 million, and that's going to allow us to combine two phases at the same time, which will then speed up the process. Our goal is to be able to have the project completed by fall of '26. So it's well underway. The contract's already been signed for the west side lift station, which is the biggest piece of the puzzle. At the same time, we're working on the connector for the north of the town.
Thank you for that update. Judge, let's turn to you on the county side of things. One of the projects that I know you've been spending a lot of time on is getting the infrastructure improvements on the south end of the county. Can you talk a little bit about what's going on there?
Yeah, we've got a few things going on, but first I'd also like to introduce my county team. We've got a couple tables out here. that none of us would be successful without our team. So if you all would stand up real quick, please. And I also want to thank the leadership that's out here in the audience. You know, we're up here on the stage because we're elected officials, but the community doesn't grow, it doesn't run without the leadership down here that's listening to us today, when you all are the real engine behind the community. So appreciate everybody that's here today and the jobs you do as leadership. And see a lot of the school board back here. And so what we're doing, the infrastructure project we're doing right now, we couldn't have got done without help from the school board, because one thing we're working on is water on the south end of the county. We've got some problems with lines and different things, and South Hawkins Water District had a huge project they're trying to get through, but funding is always an issue. And there was part of the project that was affecting the school system, the residents, and any businesses on the south end of not having enough capacity and pressure. So working with the school system, we're going to locate it's a $2 million project to put a new water tank in that will be by Central High School, that will serve all the south end of the county, to make sure that area can grow, and we take care of the schools on the south end, that they have what they need to keep our students safe and taken care of. So that's a big project that we're going to be working on there. There's also a ton of road infrastructure on the south and west end, to where we've had a lot of damage over the last several years. So this year we're going to pave almost 22 miles of county roads, which is huge. I don't think we've ever come close to that in the past. And a lot of that is due to the damage we've had, but there's a lot of infrastructure projects going on the south end.
Thank you, Judge. Mayor, another piece of infrastructure that we've heard a lot about, and I don't think it's started construction yet, but plans are underway. But that's a new power plant here in Madisonville and Hopkins County.
Yes, hopefully the final piece of approval will go through on April the 5th, and then there'll be a groundbreaking ceremony for that project on April the 15th. That project is something that has been just a little over a year and a half, 2 years underway. Once we heard that KYMEA had the thought of building a power plant somewhere, I reached out to them and said, just at least come look at Madisonville so we can see what we can offer to you all in order to maybe make this thing work a little smoother and go a little faster. But it was the board came in, the executive team came in, they loved Madisonville, they loved the location. We were able to, with the council's help, we were able to navigate some of those opportunities for them. It is a net 75 megawatt facility, natural gas. It's a total investment of $180 million to Madisonville. It will be in the city limits. It's a huge opportunity for us for several reasons. One, it allows, we are part of the KYMEA organization. So if you're on Madisonville Municipal Power, that's the agency that's providing the power for Madisonville. Right now we're dependent upon the open market. So when we had some issues where they were unable to produce enough power, and you saw maybe out in the south end of the county mainly, where they were rolling blackouts. Our goal as an organization is to make sure that we can set ourselves up for the future so that we don't have to do that, and at the same time control what those costs are going to look like moving forward. So the city of Madisonville hasn't had a rate increase in 6 years, where Kentucky Utilities and Kenergy has had rate increases every year. So it's a big win for us as we're out trying to recruit new businesses and new folks to come into the community. We can showcase that as an opportunity for low cost of operations. And KYMEA agreed to move it here. We're excited. Again, April the 5th is that final approval date, and then hopefully we'll move right into the groundbreaking. It will take right at a year and a half to do the construction for that project, but it's going to be an incredible asset. We'll be able to flip a switch, and within minutes, like 2 minutes, we'll be at full capacity at 75 megawatts. That's just not heard of in a lot of areas, so we're excited. We've been able to do some site visits with the organization, and it's just going to be a big win for Madisonville and a big win for our region. There's 8 other cities that are a part of that organization, so as we're partnering and trying to work across the state, we all are working together to keep those utility rates low.
Judge, staying on the topic of power, I know there's been some discussion about solar. Been a lot of talk about solar over the last several years, just nationwide, but that's also filtered down to the county level.
Yeah, we've seen several projects across the state recently, and we've got one that they're working on here in Hopkins County, over out in the Nebo area and across in the part of Webster County that's going to be a 150 megawatt solar facility. And you know, we love the all-of-the-above approach to our energy needs. We need that. And I'm fine with the solar plant coming in because it will give us. That has to be partnered with something like the natural gas rice plants that are also coming. Because I do have some concerns about taking power offline and replacing it with non-dispatchable power. So the KYMEA plant, they're going to have 5 rice engines, I believe. So it's not shining, they can start up one of those engines like that and have power in, I think, 5 minutes. So going for this all-of-the-above approach to our energy needs, I think, is very important. And we'll see how this project moves forward. There may be some headwinds now with change in federal funding for these projects, but I think we're going to see that facility get built. And it's going to be good for the community as a whole.
Now, we can't forget about the fact that coal is what's powering America across the entire nation. And with that being said, what's happening is there's been so many regulations that have been put out there on the coal plants that a lot of these power companies are shutting down plants without having that dispatchable energy to replace it. So they're shutting down a 75 megawatt power plant, and they may be putting in an 85 megawatt solar farm, but that solar farm doesn't work if it's not. What we're working on is trying to balance that, working with the legislators, working or power companies wanting to close down coal-fired plants, that they have to have some other dispatchable power source available to make sure that we're not going to continue to see that energy source decline. We've ramped up so much of electric vehicles across the nation that the power grids across the nation are failing. And it's because of the fact that we don't have enough power available to make all of those things happen. So as the judge said, it's making that balance happen so that we can make sure that we're continuing to forecast and provide for our families in the future.
Yeah, and Mayor Harvey's out there, and he can tell you about what happens whenever you don't have enough power and it's 3 degrees. I think the day after Christmas, when we had the rolling blackouts, and Nortonville was affected by part of that, and he was calling me mad. So that's why we're getting more power plants, Mayor Harvey, just for you.
Do we want to give Mayor Harvey the microphone?
Yes.
I think that would really spice up the entertainment here. Right?
We sent him an extension cord.
Thank you, Jack.
He's got it.
Judge, you already mentioned this a little bit, but talking about the transportation infrastructure, I know you've had a couple of bridges that have been important to our county-wide transportation infrastructure. What about 502, Highway 70 bridge?
Yeah, those bridges, unfortunately, were down for a long time, way too long. The state finally stepped in and got those taken care of. We've got 2 new bridges, so we don't have the weight limits that we had before. They're wide open. It helps with our school buses, with emergency vehicles getting out there. And, that's something that the mayor and I, and all the other mayors as well, have worked with the state on to find the projects that are very important to us. One of them is South Main into Arlington, that we have constantly stayed on the state of, these are things that need to happen, and we've got to have help from them, because they're state roads, so we can't work on them, even if we had the funding and ability to do it. But getting those projects done so that the entire county can grow, so that our people can get around safely, quick, easy, has been very important, and those bridges are part of that. Jason, as you know, you use them every once in a while, going different parts of your area that you serve as part of PAD. So getting the 502 and 70 bridge were huge, because it was not a good detour around the 70 bridge, I can tell you that.
That's right.
When you go off a main highway onto some really small county roads, that was a difficult adjustment for a little while.
That's correct. So while we're talking about transportation, I know I hear you say historical funding levels for blacktop, sidewalks, you name it, as it pertains to transportation. Talk a little bit about what the city's doing on the transportation side as well.
Yeah, so for years, the way that the city has operated is we've utilized what's called municipal aid funds, that comes from the gas tax that goes to the state. The state sends back so many dollars back into the communities for road repairs. That's what we've used to upgrade the infrastructure of the streets in the city. The great thing about the team of people that we have, all of them working together, we've been able to, those numbers were around $300,000, I think, for the municipal aid funds. And they go with the gas tax. So the more gas you buy, the more funds that you get. But we were somewhere around that $300,000 mark for years. And this year we were able to, in the general fund, we were able to supply $1.4 million into the streets of Madisonville, which is almost 40 streets in the city that we've been able to blacktop. So the goal is to continue that trajectory so that we can get the streets in the city where they need to be as we're moving forward. So then we're just on a maintenance schedule. And, you know, a lot of folks will say, well, how come you didn't do my street? Well, there's a formula behind it, and we don't just go out and find a street and say, we're going to blacktop this street today. We have a software, thanks to our city engineer, Lincoln Fugel. We have a software now that will gauge the condition of the streets as the vehicles are driving over top of them. So we have several city vehicles that drive on every street in the city, and it gauges the condition of that street, and as it deteriorates, it will move that up in the program automatically to show whether it's in, you know, critical need of repair or if it's just needs to be put on the list. And then it prioritizes those so that we can make sure that we're hitting the streets that need it, you know, the worst first. But with that being said, I hear this all the time too. Well, how come you cut up a brand new blacktop street? Well, I'm sorry, we can't predict when a water line's going to blow, or we can't predict when a sewer line's going to collapse. I wish we could, then we would be able to navigate those things as well. I will tell you that we do have studies going on in both of those departments, and some of those departments have already been completed, but we're looking at the infrastructure as a whole across the city so that we can maybe get ahead of some of those things with our older infrastructure, being able to replace that before we go in and put the blacktop down. I know that Rusty's in here with Atmos Gas. A big thank you goes out to Atmos. They've been communicating with us, trying to make sure that we're working together across the city. That's going to set us up for the next 50 years as well. But we were right at $1.4 million, and in 2024 we were only able to put in $775,000. So in the city, continuing to do so, working with the we're partnering with the state on, continuing main project. They were able to do some main huge, I think it was 20.
But it's now on the state's list to get done, and that's going to be great for that area. Getting rid of the center hump and repaving everything, new sidewalks. It's going to be a big project, and we'll get complaints once it gets started because it's going to be a little bit difficult to get through there, but when it's done, it's going to be so much better.
Yes, Midtown Boulevard is another one. You know, we need to get that connector going. That's going to be critical. As you know, there's a huge saying that the first 3 months of that thing is going to be insane. You're not going to be able to get in and out of go in. But if you just have to understand, as you're typing on Facebook how mad you are because you're waiting in a parking lot, that the mayor told you at the state of the city, you're going to have to wait in that line to get out of the parking lot. So just like for the first week of Starbucks, you had to wait to get in and out of the Starbucks line.
It's obvious you're just going to have to cut in on that like you just did. So
Yeah.
you just feel free to cut in there whenever you need to. But continuing on infrastructure, sort of the last thing I want to talk about with infrastructure. I know one of the first conversations I had with you when you came into office was broadband. How can we get better broadband here in Hopkins County? And so I know again, since day one, you've been working on that.
And I hate to continue talking about it because it has not gone nearly as well as it should have. You know, we've got a lot of legacy carriers like AT&T and Spectrum and Time Warner, all those that, you know, over the past 25 years, they've gotten federal money to serve areas, and they've reported areas as served on the FCC maps, but it may be one person in a census block, right? Not everybody can get service. And now, you know, AT&T's coming in, pulling out DSL service and not providing any other service. So we're working with Kenergy and Connection, Spectrum, a few others to try to figure out how we speed this up. We've got some BEAD funding right now. We've seen a local company, one guy started doing his own work and is taking fiber underground. So, you know, maybe we can figure out a way to help him to move faster. We're looking at an all of the above approach. Typically in the past, we've looked at other areas that municipalities have tried to start their own internet service company.
Not this municipality.
And it's not gone well for almost any of them. But I really wish 6 years ago we would be better off if we had started that. But just historically, it doesn't work well. But historically, neither do our legacy providers. You know, if you're in one of the cities in the county, you probably have decent internet. But if you get outside the city limits, there may be nothing. But we are getting that slowly rolled out to get more projects going. And we'll see a lot of improvement over the next 3 to 5 years. Like I said, Kenergy Connection is working to do the entire county. They're looking for some of that BEAD funding to get to every house in the county. And there may be some that we end up having to do, you know, something like Elon Musk company, so you get wireless internet. Because there's some houses, it's just not economical to run fiber back to them. But we'll continue to work to get that done as much as we possibly can. We have seen improvement. It's just not fast enough to satisfy me, and it's not fast enough to satisfy a lot of the people that call me.
And I would suggest for those houses that you're just talking about, which I am one of those houses, call Elon. It's pretty good stuff. I will say that. So all this infrastructure that we've talked about, it really allows us to have that economic growth, that community growth that we get to see taking place throughout the county. Let's quickly talk about economic development, and I know Bill and Kelly just do an absolute wonderful job with our economic development group. But one project that I do want to talk about, because if you drive out past GE and you have, and I'm not talking about the 40 improvements to 41, but if you see the construction that has taken place in the lot across from GE, can you all talk a little bit about what's going on there?
Yeah, well, first I want to talk about Bill and Kelly. If y'all would stand up, please. I know you hate that, but
Bill has just agreed to stay on for 5 more years.
Bill Rudd stepped in and said he was going to do this part-time for a couple months till we could find somebody else. He's been here several years now, and Bill Rudd has been fantastic. And this project off of 41A is something that he has pushed to get done. Bill and Kelly have got grants from the state to get our build ready site. And if we don't have areas that companies feel like they can move to quickly, they're not coming. We're at a time today where there's so many entities that are fighting for new businesses that we have to have land that's easily and quickly developable. So that's what we have been working on with economic development, with the city and the county, to make sure that when companies are looking to move or add new facilities, we can say, yeah, come on in, come to Hopkins County, we're ready for you. So that's a huge project to move us forward with industry. I know you've heard people talk about, we've got all these retail developments coming, and that is absolutely amazing, the work that the mayor and city have done to go out and get these retail folks to come in. You don't get industry without that. You don't get a big company that says, you know, we've got 400 employees, we want to move somewhere where there's nowhere for them to go out and eat or go shop, right? So you got to do both at the same time. Industrial and retail have to go hand in hand, and we're moving forward with that now.
Well, and the great thing is, you know, we give Bill Rudd a lot of praise, but he deserves every bit of it, because Bill Rudd has been able to transform economic development in Hopkins County as a whole. He was able to bring that business experience, his time in the community, his banking experience. He's been able to bring all of that information into Hopkins County Economic Development. And because of that, we're seeing some great things happen. He's even allowed me to drive on some of the overnight trips to some of the headquarters. He was extremely frustrated because it was right after my ticket, so it was 70 miles an hour all the way, and maybe even 69 in some of it. But he has done an incredible job looking outside the box, looking at those opportunities. That, you know, we've at the same time that we're doing all these other things, we're also working on an economic development piece. So, you know, the city was able to write for a KPDI grant. We were able to get those funds. That helped us with the West Knoll Interceptor to get the capacity that we need to be able to bring on these other industries. And then also, they've just written for another $2 million grant. Is that $2 million for the third round of KPDI, which will bring utilities to the 72-acre lot that is owned by Economic Development, which helps us to be able to attract more businesses and more industries into Madisonville, because those things are already there, as Jack said. And it all works together. So the infrastructure piece has got to be there, the housing piece has to be there, the build-ready sites have to be there, the retail, the quality of life, all of that comes full circle as we're marketing the community. So.
And we've seen a few other things out, you know, in Hanson. We've got Kloss that just moved in. So that's some new jobs coming there. In Dawson Springs, they have got a KPDI grant for $2 million, and the county is going to provide the match for that, so we can have a site ready in Dawson that a company can move to. And Mr. Rudd has talked quite a bit about retiring, so if you all get a chance, encourage him not to do so anytime you talk to him.
He's not smiling. Oh, there's a smile.
I think somebody offered him a beer.
So, continuing on, we're seeing some construction projects. I drive by it every day down I-69, the new sheriff's building.
Yeah, I think that's going to be huge for the county. You know, the sheriff and I were talking one day, and it just didn't make sense to have the county sheriff's office a block from MPD, because the sheriff doesn't respond normally in the city limits. The police department does. Madisonville Police Department does. So if they were at the office and got a call, they have to drive through town, the heaviest traffic area, with their lights on, trying to get out of town to go to a call. So there's safety issues there, there's timing issues there. So we decided we need to do something different. So that's what you're seeing coming up out by the archery building. A new sheriff's office is going to go up. It's almost dead in the center of the county. You get on the interstate and be anywhere in the county much quicker than you can having to go through the city. So that's a project that I think is important from a safety aspect for all the citizens of Hopkins County. And it's going to be good for the sheriff's department to be able to do different trainings. And it's just going to be a really nice facility for them to operate out of.
Again, we can't have that development without that safety infrastructure, without that water and sewer, without that broadband infrastructure in place to allow that development to happen throughout the community.
Yeah, and I think the city is still listed as one of the top 5 safest cities.
Yeah, I think we're still in the top 5. We're actually the lowest crime rate in 20 years.
And that's something that, you know...
And the county is as well.
Yeah, you know, the mayor and I have worked well together to try to get things done, but so has the chiefs and the sheriffs the last, 8-10 years have worked well together with KSP and all the other law enforcement agencies to make this one of the safest counties in the state.
One of the other construction projects that I want to bring up, and it's tied more to quality of life activities, but I know we have the new extension office going up. I mean, Mar Park has just transformed over the past couple of years. How fortunate are we to have that piece of property out there and to be able to host the events that can be hosted out there? I don't know if you all can provide any update on the extension office, but just maybe Mar Park in general.
Well, so Ashley Robinson's here. Give her a big round of applause. Her and her team do a great job at Mar Park. Last year alone, it was just over 625,000 visitors to Mar Park Arboretum. So you wouldn't think that that's many people are going to Mar Park, but it's incredible to see those numbers. Enjoying that land that the Mars left as a legacy to our community. The extension office is going to be a huge asset to the farm as a whole. The partnerships are going to come out of that, the ability that they're going to have to be able to do a lot of educational programming on the property, some opportunities to partner with Mar Park. All of that stuff comes together, again, just offering more for our community, offering more outdoor opportunities, and always trying to look at, how can we improve that without, we heard somebody just the other day said we need pickleball courts at Mar Park. I'm sorry you're not going to get them. Mar Park is a passive park. That's a park that we want you to go. We want you to enjoy the nature. We want you to be able to just be in a place of peace and quiet and tranquility. And that's what happens out at Mar Park. The city park has all of the opportunities for that active park. And Caleb is here as well. Give Caleb a big round of applause. He manages the other almost 500 acres of parks and recreation across the city. But that's where you're going to see those active pieces. But the extension office is a beautiful building. Hopefully real soon you're going to see the sign come on at Mar Park. It's only taken like 5 years to build, but it's almost
But
done.
it sure is pretty.
It is pretty. That's a legacy piece from the trust. The trust has paid 100% of that project, so a big thank you goes out to the trust.
And that extension office goes perfect there, because what they do is, they deal with our farmers, gardeners, and you take your soil to the extension office, see what you need to do to grow a good garden. And it's a huge entity for the kids in the county with 4-H and different things that they do. They do a ton of training at the extension office, and this facility is going to be set up perfect for that. The training room is going to be just wonderful, and that just fits in with the natural area that is Mar Park. And I'm glad that we don't have a lot of loud sporting events there, because it is, we went walking out there yesterday, and it's a great natural preserve to just go and enjoy the peace and quiet.
And if you need a tour and you're like me and you're not like Jack and it takes more for you to walk, they'll put you on a golf cart and take you around as well.
And it's got some hills. You may need a golf cart.
So I am going to switch gears again here. Still sticking with that economic development piece, but one thing that I really didn't have on my bingo card ever here in Madisonville or Hopkins County was movies being made here in the area. And I know we've all
Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, Fast and Furious. I
just thought I'd get it out first.
I guess my question was, is either of you all starring in any of these movies, and what type of films are these, which is concerning to me.
So the movie star is Bill Rudd. Bill Rudd has the longest part in the movies.
I had one line.
I had 3 words.
And my line, the director had to say, remember, you're talking to somebody whose best friend just died, and you shouldn't be smiling. Okay. So no, we're not going to be movie stars, but the movie industry, it's been such a surprise to me to see. They came and just looked around and then started making movies immediately.
Again, that was just a partnership that we received this random email that they wanted to come in and do a tour of Madisonville and Hopkins County. We were able to partner up with Bill Rudd. Bill kind of helped take the wheel for that one. We spent some time with them, and then Bill spent 8 hours with them that day. So, but because of that, we've already seen 2 movies filmed here. One was playing for Mozart that will come out. It should be like Lifetime Hallmark type movie that's going to come out in April, May. And then they wrapped up Christmas Pitch. That one was filmed naturally during Christmas. They were able to utilize all the cool stuff that's going on in the community during December as part of that. And my wife is here. She's so thankful that movie is finished filming. They may or may not have commandeered filming some in my house that I may or may not have forgot to ask permission for while there were 30 people in the house.
It's easier to ask for forgiveness.
When it was pouring down rain outside and all those cool things that happened. But the film industry is moving out of Hollywood. They're looking for better opportunities. The state has an incredible incentive right now. It's 35 cents on the dollar that these film industries can receive back for any money that they spend in Kentucky. They get 35 cents on the dollar back for that. Great thing. We got to give a big shout out to Trish Knoll at Hopkins County Tourist and Convention Commission. She jumped on board with a vision to create the West Kentucky Film Commission. which allows us to attract more of those films into our community. And because of that, I mean, we've seen some incredible folks in our community touring. We have a $2.8 million movie that those folks are going to be in town over the next few weeks. And then we have a $12 to $15 million movie, and those folks are going to be here in June and July. So they love our area. They ran into some of you just out shopping or at a restaurant, or maybe it was at the hotel, or they ran into folks in Madison and Hopkins County and just fell in love. And that's what we want. We want them to know that we're here to support those projects, because that's going to bring in more economic impact as well. Every dollar that's spent in Madisonville, it's not being spent in Madisonville right now or Hopkins County right now, is a win for Hopkins County.
Yeah, and they've been all around the country making movies, and everyone has said this is one of the best places they've ever been. They've not had one negative experience with the people in Hopkins County. Now, you get outside the county, they've had a few bad ones, but this again goes back to what we have been doing for 6 years now. It's a cooperative effort between the city and the county and tourism and economic development
And
to
the
make
chamber.
things happen.
It really makes a difference when we all work on the same page. And the opportunities that are coming out of this are, honestly, there's going to be some announcements coming up soon. And one of those announcements is based off of the fact that I see Stephanie back there smiling, based off of the Playing for Mozart movie. Once that movie was started here, there were some discussions, and out of that discussion is going to come something great for Madison and Hopkins County. So we can't wait to be able to make that announcement. But it's thinking outside the box, being willing to take a risk on something that maybe we don't truly understand, and having the partners that we have make it happen. And again, working together makes a difference.
So moving along, West Kentucky Law Enforcement Training Center. I know first class has just started. There was a press conference out there last week. Talk about that.
And I think it's going to be huge for this area, and huge for really all of Kentucky, especially Western Kentucky, because previously everybody had to go to Richmond to get their training in. And that's a long haul from Paducah. So with this facility, the one we've got now, is doing basic training classes. The first one just started, and it allows the law enforcement from West Kentucky to not have to travel across the state, and it increases the capacity. We were having 5, 6, 7 months where a new sheriff's deputy or MPD officer, all they could do was ride with somebody else because they couldn't get to the basic training class because it was full. So now we double the capacity across the state, so every law enforcement entity in Kentucky will save money, be able to get their law enforcement officers trained and on the street faster. And when the new facility is done, that's even going to improve even more. But I have to say that Chief Bryant and Mayor Cotton made this happen. You know, we all jumped on board, but we were just helping to push them along. You know, they grabbed it and ran with it. I don't know how many trips they made to Frankfort to get this done, but those two made this possible. And the economic impact of that is going to be huge for Hopkins County. So I want to just say thank you, Mayor Cotton and Chief Bryant, for getting that done. See, we supported them, they got it done.
I had heard that they were going to give the mayor and chief an office there in Frankfort because they were up there so often.
I did let him drive a lot.
They can turn the lights on and go fast.
But it was an incredible journey. It's taken us just over 3 years, almost 4 years, to get that across the finish line. And honestly, we couldn't have done it without Senator Mills. Rocky Atkins, we were sitting in Rocky Atkins' office. He was telling us that we needed to go see Senator Chris McDaniel. At the same time, Senator Mills was calling us and sending us messages that we needed to get over to the annex because Chris McDaniel had 5 minutes that we could get in to talk to him. And from that, we were able to work over the next 3 years to get that across. We have Justin Jones, Major Justin Jones, and Major Jason McKnight. Those guys were instrumental as well in helping us get this across the finish line. It was the initial investment is $50 million into our community. That's going to be in the city as well, out on Bing Cemetery Road. You'll start seeing some announcements for maybe groundbreaking on that later this summer, maybe early fall. But that's one of those Commonwealth projects. It's not just a local project. It's not just even a regional project. It is a statewide project that benefits law enforcement everywhere. And because of that, we're going to be able to hopefully even add in some federal partners that will be able to train in those facilities as well. So it's just been a great journey and a great experience, and I appreciate everybody's support in making that happen.
One more piece of development before we move on to our last topic. The retail development that's going on out there by Kroger. Let's talk about that. Where is it, and really how's that impacting development across other parts of Madisonville and even the region?
Well, you said it was out by Kroger, so it's out by Kroger, right next door.
Okay.
You can look over on the screen and see some of the stuff that's coming out there right now.
Yeah, so we're really excited about this retail development. It's allowed us really to launch into some bigger, better opportunities. You're seeing those things come to fruition. You're seeing those doors open up already. 7 Brew hopes to get open next week. Zaxby's hopes to start construction in 6 to 8 weeks. We've talked about that for a little over a year now. But those projects are because of the fact that we're going out, a full team of people that are going out, recruiting these businesses to just see Madisonville for what we have to offer, getting that information out that we are much larger and we're much regionally located than what they may think when they just Google us. We've made a really big push for retail development, and what that's done is allowed us now to even partner statewide on some retail recruitment opportunities with other cities across the state, from far east Kentucky to northern Kentucky to even locally with Hopkinsville and Oak Grove. So we're looking forward to that as we move into this next year. But it's incredible to see happen. Just one of those wins pays for the entire process of what these retail developments are costing, or retail recruitment cost. So we're excited. It's bringing more jobs. 7 Brew said they're going to hire 45 people. Their starting wage minimum was $16 an hour. So it's great for our community. But where we really win is by having the retail development that you see on the board. When we're trying to recruit new physicians, when we're trying to recruit new families to move to our community, what we've heard for so many years is there's not even a Starbucks. Like, really, that's what they said. There's no Starbucks. We're not coming to Madisonville. Well, they can't say that now. We have Starbucks and we have 7 Brew. So there's going to be more opportunities to recruit more families, which ties into the housing piece. All of that works together. While we're out recruiting retail development, we're running into housing developers at the same time. We've already had several tours of housing developers in our community, and we have another one that's coming in to look, just because they met us at a retail recruitment event. So we're looking forward to seeing where that goes in the future. And it's really, we got 7 Brew getting ready to open. Ollie's is under construction in the old Big Lots right now, and there's going to be several more that we'll be able to hopefully announce in the coming months.
And you all heard me say before that rural areas are doing 2 things. They're growing or they're dying. They're not sitting still. That's not an option anymore. And you can see from this, we're not going to let this community die. We're going to continue to grow and be dynamic. And again, it goes back to the partnerships with all of you in here to get things like this done. And this success breeds success. You see this come, there's going to be others that follow.
Yeah, we've already seen just since we've started the retail initiative, that started by the Chamber of Commerce with the retail committee, and then it's just kind of spiraled into where we are right now. And so a big shout out goes to Libby Spencer. I think I saw, is she in here? Did I see her in here? She was a big proponent for the retail committee. So they were able to get that off and going. But since we started the initiative for retail recruitment, we've seen over $2 million of upgrades to just our current businesses and commercial entities that we have within the city that have made some alterations to make sure that they're upgrading and doing what they can to improve as well. So it's not just that $30 million retail development that we're bringing in new businesses, but it's $2 million that's already been spent on upgrading the businesses that we currently have here.
And one thing I do appreciate, because I get phone calls all the time asking, well, how is Madisonville and Hopkins County doing what they're doing to get the retail development that they are? And I do appreciate you're willing to give them the secret sauce. And you're actually willing to take them in and allow them to recruit retail alongside of you. So thank you for doing that.
Well, a big thank you goes out to you as well, because Jason has been able to attend several of the retail recruitment events that we've been able to go to. And it makes a big difference when you have all the players at the table. So when a developer walks by, you're able to answer every question that they have. We were able to turn 7 Brews plans while we were in Atlanta. We were driving home from Atlanta. We called Frank Wallace, and they submitted an email to Frank Wallace, and by the time we got home, he had already reached back out to him and said, oh, that's no problem. So, I mean, that's just what it takes to be able to make some of these projects happen. These retailers have commitments that they've made to their shareholders, that they want to be able to get as many stores open through that year, and we're able to turn those permits quickly. So,
And you have to look at a wider area. We want Madisonville, Hopkins County, Nortonville to grow, but in order to do that, areas around us can grow as well. The Paradise Regional Park in Muhlenberg County. There's I think 8 counties involved with that, and we're putting money into a new business that's coming there, because people that live in Hopkins County are going to go there to work, right? And it's going to help us and our people. People that live in Muhlenberg are going to work there and come here to eat. So we have to look at a wider area, not just have a laser focus on us, because the growth around us helps us to grow as well. And I think, again, that cooperative approach between cities and counties all across the western end of the state, it ends up helping all of us. It ends up helping all of us, and that's how we will continue to see success and grow.
So I know we're about out of time, but there are just a couple of more things I want to touch on. And this is a quality of life piece. Fourth Fest, I know, is sort of the flagship event during the summer. Any announcements you can provide there?
yeah, actually, that's going to be for July 4th, 5th, and 6th this year. So we're really excited about that. On Friday, July 4th, that's going to be more of our R&B night. Saturday, July 5th will be our country night, and Sunday will be our contemporary Christian night. On Friday, we are going to be able, do we have any of the music queued up for that? Do you have some music that we can share? Friday night, we're going to have Ruben Studdard. He is an American Idol winner. He'll be here with us. And then he'll open up for Morris Day and the Time. So that one, they're expecting a huge crowd for. We're really excited about that. Saturday, July the 5th, we're going to have Brian Martin. Brian actually happened to just be driving around with us for 3 days as we were touring Madisonville for a movie project that he's going to be writing all the music for. We were able to convince him that he just needed to be a part of what we had going on that weekend. So Brian Martin, he just released a video. It hit 59 million views right out of the gate. Chase Matthews will be there to open up for Chris Jansen. So that's our country lineup. And then on Sunday, July the 6th, for our contemporary Christian, we have Josiah Queen and Torrin Wells. So that is our Fourth Fest lineup. We're super excited. We feel very good about it. Our Heath Eric with the Eric Group feels like that this will be the largest event that we've had yet.
Wow, that's great. One more thing, and this is another huge impact on our community, and really talking about, I know we have a room full of business leaders, and what do they look at all the time? Return on investment. We've been making a lot of investment into our community. What is the return on those investments? And I think the first one we can talk about is the sports factory.
And we have been talking about that for 15 years.
I know you have.
And every time I have spoke as an elected official, we have talked about getting a sports complex open in Hopkins County, and the damn thing's open. I'm a little excited about that.
It is definitely,
Put this on.
yeah, we need to put that on. It's an incredible asset to our community. We're already seeing some amazing things happen out of there.
The tournaments, every restaurant, every hotel is full. That's another piece to getting more hotels, restaurants, and businesses.
Yeah, and you know, we talked about even last year about some additional hotels that were in the works. That process just takes a little bit longer than what we all like. I like to speed things up a little bit, and that just doesn't work as fast as we want it to. But we've already seen that return on investment coming into the community. You know, we had, just on the 4 tournaments that we've hosted so far, we've had 9,680 spectators with 222 teams. The economic impact, according to the Sports Facilities Company's tracker, shows a $2.3 million economic impact already in our community, just based off of the 4 tournaments that we've had.
You know, I think like Brad went out talking to some of the restaurants and said, hey, we're going to have this big tournament. You might want to get prepared. And someone said, you know what, we do this every day. We're prepared. They ran out of food.
They ran out of food.
Sure did. That's how busy they have been on these tournament weekends. It's been just amazing to see the people that are coming here.
And the amount of local play that's been done out there as well. We've already sold 2,465 day passes since January the 15th. So it's not just the fact that we're bringing in the 10,000 people that don't live here, but you're also seeing 2,465 people that's already been able to utilize that facility as well. So it's just a great asset to our community. I'm so glad that we could get on the same page, and that the county and the city could partner up together to make that happen. We could not have done it without them. The grand opening is on your table. It's going to be this Saturday. We're really excited to be able to do that, as Brad's back there waving the card in the background.
Yeah, and if you have not been out there, please come out there Saturday. You will not believe this facility. It is the premier facility in West Kentucky.
In that, it ran out of battery. Are you cutting me off?
I can't believe yours ran out of battery and Kevin's didn't.
I know it. So we see on the screen that even leads to more development, like you already mentioned. You know, it's still working. I see some results back here. Talk about how that's really impacting the bigger picture on construction and activity that's taking place.
Well, so new commercial construction in 2023 was $8.9 million, and in 2024 the new construction for commercial is $18.5 million. And we have more permits that have already been pulled for 2025. But it's just an incredible amount of investment that we're seeing in our community. All of that comes into play because those are dollars that would not have been invested in our community had we have not been out fighting for it, trying to get that across the finish line. And it's just all of that ties back in together. Our hotels are winning, our restaurants are winning, which means our community is winning as well. And we couldn't do it without each and every one of you. You make that happen. You're the ones that are the forward-facing folks in the community. You're the ones that are out there that when they come into your businesses, or maybe they've got a broken arm or
Looking for a good school.
Broken clavicle that they have to come in for, and she's not listening. But it's that experience that they have when they come in. That's what matters. How do you respond to those folks when they're here? And they love it, they're excited, they want to be a part of this community, and they want to know more about what's going on.
Yeah, from our hospitals to the school systems to the development possibilities, it's continued to grow, and it's so welcoming when people come here.
Well, thank you both. I know we're at 9 o'clock here, but thank you both for what you do. And listen, guys, what you see up here is unique between these two. And we're really fortunate here in Hopkins County to have that partnership between your county officials and your city folks. So thank you all for doing that, because that just means we have that capability to have more growth.
We just know we get more done together than we can apart.
That's exactly right.
That goes for Mayor Harvey too.
So thank you all for being here. Karen, you need the microphone.
I too wanted to mimic what Mr. Vincent was saying, the fact that this isn't what's typical across, and I've only been doing this job since mid-January, and I can tell you the experiences that I've had, This is this is the outlier. When you see community leaders that are working together, I have been in the surrounding counties, and actually West Kentucky leadership was here last week, and I got to spend just a few moments with them, and just within 10 to 15 minutes I heard several of those people, coming to me to make sure to say, I really wish our leaders worked together. They don't collaborate, they don't speak, they're not on the same page. And so I personally, not only in my position, but just as a citizen here in Hopkins County, appreciate it and wanted to make sure and thank you all. A couple more thank yous before we dismiss. I want to make sure that you note our furniture today is from Todd's Furniture. I want to make sure and put that plug in there because they were gracious enough to let us use this setup. And our ferns are from the FFA students and the students there at Hopkins County Central. So I do want to make sure that they get credit for that. I got a really an abundant lesson yesterday on ferns from a student at Hopkins County Central when I went to pick those up. So learned a little bit about that. But again, thank you all for coming. This is wonderful just to see this many people have an interest, because the only reason, after 28 years in education, the only reason that I even wanted to consider taking a position such as this is because I want to be a part of my community. I want to serve my community. And I believe that Hopkins County is the absolute best. And I know we say that a lot, but I've been in other places, and we truly have something special here. It's hard to see when you're in it all the time, and we tend to overlook it, but we have an amazing community, the cities and the surrounding and our entire county. So thank you for what you do on the daily, and thank you for being here.